Hello, welcome to today's session on sharing Buddhist knowledge. We will explore one of the most intriguing questions in spiritual history. Was Buddha a real person? To answer this question, we need to go back over 1,500 years to a time when ancient India was a hub of philosophical and spiritual exploration. The historical Buddha, known as Siddhartha Gautama, is widely regarded as the founder of Buddhism. But was he a real, flesh and blood individual, or merely a legend created to inspire generations? Let's explore. Historical evidence of Buddha's existence. Most historians agree that Buddha was indeed a historical figure. He is thought to have been born around 624 BCE in Lumbini, which is in modern-day Nepal. Siddhartha Gautama was a prince of the Shakya clan. According to historical accounts, he renounced his luxurious life to seek enlightenment after witnessing the suffering of the world. His teachings on the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path became the foundation of Buddhism. Textual evidence. Early Buddhist texts. The Pali Canon, Theravada tradition, and other Buddhist scriptures contain detailed accounts of the Buddha's life and teachings. These texts were passed down orally for several centuries before being written down, and they provide a consistent narrative about his teachings and his followers. Edicts of Ashoka. The Mauryan Emperor Ashoka, 3rd century BCE, issued rock and pillar edicts that reference the Buddha and Buddhism. These inscriptions provide indirect evidence of the Buddha's historical influence and suggest he was a real figure whose teachings had gained prominence by Ashoka's time. Archaeological evidence. Bodh Gaya and Sarnath. Archaeological sites like Bodh Gaya, where the Buddha is said to have attained enlightenment, and Sarnath, where he delivered his first sermon, contain ancient stupas and relics linked to early Buddhist communities. Lumbini. Inscription. A pillar inscription by Emperor Ashoka at Lumbini, modern-day Nepal, identifies it as the birthplace of the Buddha, providing a historical connection to his life story. Cultural and religious influence. The rapid spread of Buddhism across South Asia, and later throughout Asia, points to the historical reality of a founder whose teachings resonated deeply with many communities. The early adoption of Buddhism by rulers, like Emperor Ashoka, underscores its authenticity. The line between history and legend. While many details of Buddha's life are rooted in history, others have taken on a legendary quality. Stories of his miraculous birth, where he is said to have walked and spoken immediately after being born, are often seen as symbolic rather than literal. These elements were likely added to emphasize his spiritual significance. Buddha himself discouraged focusing on the supernatural. His teachings were practical and aimed at reducing suffering through self-awareness and ethical living, rather than worshiping him as a divine figure. Why this question matters. So, why do people still ask whether Buddha was real? The question highlights the distinction between faith and historical fact. For some, Buddha's teachings hold value regardless of whether he was a historical figure. For others, his real-life story serves as a powerful example of human potential and the pursuit of wisdom. Whether seen as a teacher, a philosopher, or an enlightened being, the legacy of Siddhartha Gautama has profoundly shaped cultures, philosophies, and spiritual practices across the globe. In conclusion, most evidence points to the Buddha being a real person who lived and taught in ancient India. While his life story is intertwined with myth and symbolism, his teachings remain timeless and continue to resonate with millions. Thank you for joining today's exploration. I hope this helped illuminate the question of whether Buddha was a real person. Remember, The journey to understanding often brings us closer to wisdom, just as Buddha himself taught. See you in the next episode.